Ladies and gentlemen of Toastmasters, good evening.
Good evening.
Generally, strangers are only invited into our homes to perform some type of professional service for which we can't do. Think of plumbers, electricians. But to invite a stranger into the home only to have him operate a vacuum is kind of odd, but it is exactly what I did. It was a late Saturday night. I had been doing some reading when suddenly I stopped in mid-sentence because I noticed something moving in the corner. So I looked and identified the intruder as a tiny cricket. Crickets chirping outside my window late at night is nothing less than romantic. It's barely tolerable, but one small cricket chirping in my tiny one-room apartment is extremely unbearable. So I acted quickly. I grabbed my weapon of choice, a sturdy broom. I apprehended the pest, and I single-handedly eliminated it. Another situation in which man triumphed over beast, albeit a tiny one. But my victory was short-lived because soon after that incident, I realized another cricket. And I realized generally when there are two critters, often there will be many, many more. So I walked towards the corner, I pushed aside a small box, and what I saw caused my curly, spirally hair to become bone straight. The area I was looking at appeared to have been an uncovered portal that led to some otherworldly dimension. Where the box had been, it was dark, it was damp, and it was moving. And it's that last characteristic that really disturbed me. In fact, I was looking at a thriving nest, a colossal colony of crickets, their larvae, and I don't know what else because I only looked long enough for the image to register to my brain that this is something that should not be in any apartment, much less mine. Maybe I should have been prepared because a week before that incident, I awoke and I went to my blinds to let in some light. And in addition to letting in some light, I also let in a healthy dose of swarming ants with wings that were all over the window on the glass. So naturally, I grabbed some glass cleaner. And after that incident, my windows were the envy of the entire neighborhood because they were so sparkly. I used the entire 48-ounce bottle of Windex to saturate those flying pests. But Windex was not going to help me in my current situation. And the ick factor was way too great that I did not want to approach that box again. And since my vacuum had not yet learned to operate and handle itself, I needed to call in some reinforcement. So I did what any rational individual would do late on a Saturday night. I left my apartment, I walked across the street, I singled out a young person, a teenager, and I said, "I will pay you money if you would perform a service for me." The reaction that I got immediately let me know that I chose both the wrong set of words and the wrong approach. So I quickly excused myself from that highly uncomfortable situation and went to another bus stop where I saw an older gentleman sitting on the bench. And carefully choosing my words this time, I said, "I would be willing to give you a ride wherever you need to go if you were to help me with the box in my apartment." He agreed, and as we were walking across the street, he asked me, "Well, how heavy is this box?" And I'm thinking to myself at the time, it's not the box, it's the creature's lair that this box covers. But not wanting to frighten my soon-to-be guest, I simply said, "It's not the weight of the box, it's kind of what is behind the box." So finally, we arrive in the battle of my apartment. And like a good general, I quickly armed my guest with the vacuum cleaner, the weapon of choice, and stern commands: move the box and eliminate every and anything that moved or looked like it was about to move. He approached the box, he stared into this pit of unpleasantness and let out a string of obscenities. Meanwhile, I positioned myself near the door just in case he lost his nerve before his mission was accomplished. He then began to describe in colorful detail, using much colorful language, what he saw as he destroyed this struggling nest. Eventually, a calm stilled in my apartment, the dust settled, and when it cleared, we emerged victorious and unscathed. And with the threat finally at bay, I kept my commitment to the stranger whom I met in my apartment, who I invited into my apartment simply to operate a vacuum.